Jerusalem was no longer just a city, it was a symbol, a battleground, a flame that refused to go out. Rome had conquered kingdoms, but this was different. Because Jerusalem did not surrender easily. It did not break quietly. It burned. This is the story of how a holy city, rebuilt by ambition and destroyed by empire, stood at the center of one of the most brutal and defining conflicts in ancient history. From Herod's golden temple to the fury of rebellion. From siege to fire. This is fury and fire, Rome's wrath. Herod and the expansion of the temple. When Herod the Great took power in Judea around 37 BCE, he ruled under Rome's shadow, a king without true loyalty from his people. He was seen by many Jews as a foreign ruler, a puppet of the empire. But Herod was clever. He didn't seek to win their hearts through words. He chose something grander, to win them through stone. Around 20 BCE, Herod launched one of the most ambitious building projects of the ancient world, the complete expansion and renovation of the Second Temple. The site, already sacred, was transformed into a marvel of architecture. Massive courtyards, towering retaining walls, and golden facades turned the Temple Mount into a symbol of national pride and imperial might. Herod didn't just rebuild a temple. He built a monument to legitimacy, to prove he belonged on the throne, but it came at a cost. He replaced the priesthood, enforced harsh policies, and aligned tightly with Roman interests. Many began to see the grandeur not as a gift, but as a warning. Because beneath the stone, resentment grew. The temple stood higher than ever, but so did the tension beneath it. The Jewish revolt, 66 to 70 CE. By the middle of the 1st century, Judea had become a pressure cooker. Heavy Roman taxes drained the people. Corruption among local leaders fueled resentment. And the presence of Roman troops in the sacred city of Jerusalem became a daily reminder that the temple stood not in freedom, but in occupation. It was only a matter of time. In 66 CE, it began. A full-scale rebellion erupted when Jewish revolutionaries attacked Roman forces in Jerusalem, driving them out. The impossible had happened. Rome was humiliated. For a moment, hope surged. Coins were minted. Fighters marched under banners of freedom. The people believed they were reclaiming their land and their God. But the Roman Empire never forgave a bruise. Emperor Nero dispatched his most trusted general Vespasian to crush the rebellion. Alongside him marched his son, Titus. They moved methodically, destroying towns, forcing survivors to flee toward Jerusalem. As the Roman war machine closed in, Jerusalem prepared for a siege. But instead of unity, factions within the city turned on each other, fighting over leadership, ideology, and control. The city that had once rebelled in unity was now tearing itself apart, as Rome circled like a predator. Siege and destruction of Jerusalem, 70 CE. By spring of 70 CE, Titus encircled Jerusalem with 4 Roman legions. Tens of thousands of troops camped outside its gates. Inside, the holy city had become a prison of its own making. Food ran out, water was scarce, but worse than the siege was the chaos within. Jewish factions fought each other in the streets, burning one another's food stores, executing rivals, and weakening their own defense. The Romans didn't need to breach the walls. The city was already collapsing from within. And yet Jerusalem held out. Titus ordered siege engines built. Towers rose, stones were hurled, and eventually the walls began to crack. Roman soldiers poured through breaches in the defenses. The fighting was brutal, hand to hand. Blood ran in the streets. But the true devastation was still to come. As the Romans advanced toward the Temple Mount, flames erupted. Whether by command or chaos, the temple, Herod's crown jewel, the heart of Jewish worship, was set on fire. The gold melted between the stones. The sacred scrolls turned to ash, and the cries of worship turned into screams of loss. Titus ordered the city razed. The temple was torn down, stone by stone, until only a retaining wall remained. Tens of thousands were killed. Survivors were enslaved. Jerusalem was erased from maps, from memory, from mercy. Rome had made its point. But Jerusalem would not be silenced for long. Bar Kokhba and the Second Destruction, 135 CE. Rome thought Jerusalem was finished. But for the Jewish people, the loss of the temple wasn't the end. It was a wound that demanded resistance. Decades passed. And in 132 CE, a new leader rose from the ashes, Simon bar Kokhba. Charismatic, disciplined, and fearless, he was hailed by some as the Messiah, the one who would restore the kingdom of Israel. Under his leadership, a new revolt ignited. Guerrilla tactics, underground fortresses, and well-organized fighters allowed Bar Kokhba to reclaim parts of Judea. For 3 years, an independent Jewish state existed, striking fear into Roman hearts. But Rome would not allow another humiliation. Emperor Hadrian unleashed his full wrath. With tens of thousands of troops, including reinforcements from across the empire, Rome began a campaign of complete devastation. Villages were destroyed, forests were burned, survivors were hunted. In 135 CE, Bar Kokhba was killed in battle at Beitar. The rebellion was crushed. This time, Rome made sure Jerusalem could never rise again. The city was renamed Aelia Capitolina, a Roman colony. A temple to Jupiter was built on the Temple Mount. Jews were banned from entering under penalty of death. What had once been the beating heart of a nation now became a forbidden city. Its sacred center reduced to rubble, renamed and repurposed, but memory survives where empires fall. Byzantium and the rise of Christianity. Jerusalem lay broken, but history never leaves it behind for long. In the early 4th century, a new power rose from the ashes of the Roman Empire, Byzantium, and with it, a new faith, Christianity. When Emperor Constantine the Great converted to Christianity, everything changed. Jerusalem, once the site of rebellion and ruin, became a holy city once again. This time not as the center of Jewish worship, but as the city of the crucifixion and resurrection of Jesus. Constantine's mother, Helena, traveled to Jerusalem to locate the sacred sites of Christian memory. With imperial support, churches were built where the temple once stood. The Church of the Holy Sepulchre rose from the ruins, marking the place believed to be Christ's tomb. Pilgrims came from across the empire. The city's wounds were covered in new stone, its silence replaced by prayer once more. But the Temple Mount remained desolate. It was left empty, perhaps as a symbol, perhaps as a warning. Jerusalem had changed hands and changed meaning, but its power, its gravity, had not faded. It had only shifted. And soon, it would shift again. The cross and the crescent. Jerusalem had seen kings and emperors rise and fall. It had burned under Roman fire. It had wept in exile. And now it stood reborn under a new empire, a new faith, and a new name. But the silence on the Temple Mount still echoed. The stones remembered. The wind carried prayers from 3 different tongues, all reaching for the same sky. And once again, change was coming. To the south, across deserts and dunes, a new force stirred. A new prophet had spoken. A new empire was rising. In the next episode, a new faith arrives in the Holy City. Islam sweeps across the region. The Dome of the Rock is built. And Jerusalem becomes a jewel of the Caliphate. The fire of Rome may have passed, but now comes the light of revelation under the crescent moon. Enjoying the journey through history? Make sure to hit that subscribe button and join our community of history enthusiasts. Don't forget to leave a comment below. Tell us what you think, share your favorite historical insights, or suggest a topic you'd love to see us explore. And if you know someone who would love diving into the past, share this video with them. Let's uncover history together.